Hey guys, Josh from All Points Fly Shop. I have a brand new reel from Sage here called the Sage THERMO reel. It is basically based off of their very successful Spectrum series, whether it's the Spectrum, Spectrum LT, or Spectrum Max, the three different types. But these are taking a new direction. So not only do we have a brand new drag system from Sage, which is very unique and interesting, but the build quality in terms of how the frame is put together, the rigidity of the frame, and just a general construction is geared way more towards the big game. Tarpon, giant trevally, even blue water marlin and other species such as that. So a lot of the updates are specific to that type of fishing in mind and what the angler needs to be successful in those type of situations. So check it out. I got some specifics here that I think you'll really enjoy. So first and foremost is the drag system. Being based off of the Spectrum series, you're going to see a lot of similarities, but the biggest thing you're going to notice that is different is the drag knob. Now, of course, these are larger reels made for larger weight setups and everything else like that, but really, even proportionally speaking, the drag knob is substantially larger. So that's not just a reflection of having a bigger drag knob that's easier to handle, which is true in this case, but what is underneath it is really the more important stuff. So what Sage has done is increased the carbon fiber discs in the rotors inside the drag system that not only give you up to 20 pounds of drag, which is good for the big stuff, but also does a really good job of dissipating heat. And I think that's probably what the biggest advantage to this reel is. When you have a large fish on and it is pulling a massive amount of line and backing, it creates a lot of heat. And in lesser quality builds of drag systems, that heat can cause some serious damage. So what Sage has done, knowing that most people are going to be approaching big fish that are going to be pulling really hard, they've increased that drag so we can manage that heat a lot better. The other thing that Sage was able to do with these enlarged drag systems and drag housings was provide multiple rings of the sealed drag, meaning that most reels that have a sealed drag system have, say, one lip seal around the drag housing, so when it's inserted or put back together, you have one line of defense, so to speak. What Sage has done here with multiple layers is they now have multiple rings, so it's keeping out even more water, more salt, which is really bad, dirt, grime, whatever it may be, to make it a way more reinforced sealed drag system. For those of you that do a lot of saltwater fishing, this is probably one of the most debated and heavily sought after things, if you will, in a fly reel, is to have a reel that just does not get stuff into the drag. For short periods of time, people have success, but over years, when you fish a lot in salt and you have situations where you need the best performance out of your drag, having anything inside that drag system or anything that has gotten inside that has started to compromise that drag quality will ruin your day. So what Sage has done in a very clever manner is, again, introduced multiple layers of sealed rings to keep everything and anything out of that drag system. Another important characteristic of these new Sage THERMO reels is the rigidity of the frame. So a really important factor when you are fishing for big game, saltwater species that are pulling and peeling off a lot of line, a lot of backing. Again, talking a little bit about the drag system and the dissipation of heat, this also creates potential issues in the frame and in the spool when you're fighting fish. When your spool is spinning and your drag housing is cranking and working really hard, it can start to warp the frame or the spool, either due by heat or just purely by pressure, and this can cause some serious problems. If you've got a frame that's starting to warp and your spool is rubbing against the frame when you're trying to reel it in, or ultimately potentially stops the spool from being able to reel in any more line, that can be a problem. It can permanently damage reels. So having a reel that has flexibility in it is not good for some situations. There's always this debate when you're making a fly reel. I'm sure all manufacturers have to deal with this issue of, let's make a lightweight reel, but let's make a durable reel. And when you start to port the reels quite a bit, which means removing metal essentially, you can make it lighter, but you can make it less durable. So what Sage has done with these new thermos is made them certainly lightweight and comfortable and bounce well on rods, but you'll see with the construction almost similar to a fully caged frame for spay fishing. They've taken some of those ideas and made the reel and the frame itself very, very rigid. So there's going to be zero warping going on, no issues with either the frame or the spool warping in any manner. So this is going to be really, really helpful for all the big game guys that are battling those big fish that are 100 yards into your backing and keep peeling more line. You're going to have a great tool behind you to make sure that that reel or that fish is going to come in. They also have big, nice handles, which make things a lot easier, especially when your eyes are on the fish and what the fish is doing. You want to be able to find that handle. Easy to find, big, oversized handles. Sage makes these in two different sizes, the 10-12 and the 12-16. They are rated to not only hold, again, up to a 16 weighted line, but more importantly, especially when you're talking fish of this size and caliber, plenty of backing. So the 12-16 can actually hold up to 500 yards of backing. So it'll give you all the assurance policy that you need for the big fish. They come in two different colors. The champagne color, which some of you that have seen that Grande that is made by Redington, very similar, if not exact same champagne color. And then this is Sage's Stealth color as well. Again, big drag knobs. We know what's inside. I've talked about that, but they're easy to manipulate. It goes from 0 to 20, so it's easy to re-engage that exact drag setting that you wanted. Again, the rigid frame and the heat dissipation in the drag housing, those are so important. It's what a lot of high-end manufacturers for fly reels are concerned about, and it seems like Sage has really hit it on the head. MSRP on these is $700, and they are available now.